I've been thinking lately about why I never did anything to do with visual art. I had this really weird crossroads when I was in my 20s, and I was offered a job at a digital agency, and I sat down with the boss. She drew these circles on a piece of paper and she said, "So we have the management team, you won't be working there, and we have project managers and account managers, and we have web development coding team, and we have a design team." She said, "Where do you see yourself?" And it was this major crossroads, because if I had confidently, energetically, enthusiastically, and with a bit of bluffing said, really push myself in any of the three directions, which was account/project management, graphic design, coding, that's where I could be landed. Like I'd be in over my head in any of the three groups, really, because I hadn't worked in an agency context before. But she still knew that anyway. She knew that I had a lot to learn. And I really liked the idea of the design group, but I felt it was so out of my reach. I felt like I couldn't be good at it, and I'm not sure why. Maybe because I hadn't done it for so long, and because I had never really felt in school like people had said that I had any sort of talent, like, because you're always trying to pick up on, what do I have talent for? Like, that's what I need to pursue, because that will be easy for me, and I'll get better and better at it, and I'll receive the accolades, I'll receive the rewards. I sort of tentatively kind of said, oh, well, I could do any of them, but I probably feel more comfortable doing the code, which was truth. It was the one that I probably knew the most about. And she was like, okay, cool. Well, she needed people in each of those groups. But yeah, it could have gone so differently, because I think if I had learnt from, I don't know if you remember Chris Maisano, if I had learnt from him, I probably would have learnt, and he would have been frustrated with me, but I probably would have learnt a lot. And who knows where I would have ended up from there. Maybe exactly the same path, maybe because I would have been so frustrated in exactly the same way that whack decisions were being made about the information architecture, then I still would have gone down an information architecture path. But anyway, so that was a roundabout way of getting to the next point, which is I never in my life imagined that I could have been proud of something visual that I've made. And I don't mean like a letter or decorating something, or I've made like a calendar via Snapfish for my dad. I don't mean any of those sorts of things. I mean like a picture or a graphic design piece of visual work. And to have this, which I started on the 31st last year, and I called it my art journal. I started when I was on holiday last July. I just thought, I'm going to do a doodle every day. If I do something every single day, I'm bound to get better at it. If I do a stupid doodle every single day, then I'm bound to at least get better at doodling. And I felt like I wanted to do something that was visual. And my first one was exactly the way that I've always considered myself being able to do anything visually. It just looked terrible and childish, and that's what I expected to remain like all the time. But then to start this, to sort of think on New Year's Eve, I'm going to give this a bit more of a bash than just doodling. And every single page I found something to paint or draw, like even if it was someone else's art, or this was just a piece of paper that I found lying around. That was the outlook of the holiday house. My first go with paints, really. And then a few things that came to me in dreams, like this one here, words in sort of flowers. You've probably seen all these before. There's the cutlery. I might just see if I can hold it up and turn the pages. Nope, that's really awkward. But every single page in this book, that's probably my favourite, is a drawing, a picture of what I saw at the library. But every single page in this book, I don't hate. Like, that's such, it sounds so dumb, but I just love it. This one, I drew a plant, but then the text from another page showed through. And sometimes I just saw something that someone else was doing, like they did, or what I'm wearing today, so I was like, I'll do that. So I just played with colours on this page. This was a mistake that turned out to be something that I really liked. And to have that is just, I love it so much. And there are some artists that I came across, like I follow on Instagram or whatever, that I had a go at doing things the way they did. So for example, that last one, there's this artist on Instagram called Rare Press, and she has a really distinct style, and I thought sometimes it looks like she just draws with a plain biro pen. I thought I'll give that a go, and it's just, you get to try all these different things. And so my only problem ever with that book was that I took a notebook that wasn't meant for sketching or anything, so I've unwrapped a moleskin proper watercolour sort of art book to start as my next one. It will be from May. I'm so glad that you received the Shirley Trevena book and that you already look like you might enjoy it. Shirley Trevena was mentioned by our watercolour mixed media class teacher, Natalie Fernandez, and she said that she's really inspired by Shirley Trevena's style, and you know, a couple of the people in the room were like, oh yes, I love how she does this, and I love how she's, and I was like, oh, what's this person? She goes, I'll get the Breaking the Rules of Watercolour book out of the library and you'll see what I mean. So I borrowed it and I read it front to back, and I really loved how she would do so many things differently than I had imagined. So for example, not sketching anything first and just starting from, you know, the shape that she wanted to capture sort of the most, and just building on from there and building on from there, and taking days and days to do it, really letting layers dry and coming back and having another look and thinking, do I actually need to add any more? Like, can I just leave loads of white paper here, or do I want to do anything? And she'd just leave hints of things, or if she actually liked a particular perspective or angle on something, even if that wasn't the way that she was looking at it, she would draw that particular angle of it, so like the picture wasn't realistic. Or in one she says that she was enjoying painting, I think, pears so much that she just kept on painting them even though they were like going off the bowl that they were in, and so it looked like all these pears were sitting sort of mid-air. She wanted to do it, so she did. She talks about how in watercolor you're not supposed to use black. That's one of like the forbiddens, and she said, oh well, you know, if there's a forbidden, then I want to do it. So she shows how she uses black. Also, I found really interesting how she has a feeling for what she wants to convey with something. Like if it's a generally kind of sunny, warm scene and there's going to be a sunflower somewhere in it, or a field of sunflowers, then she has a look through some magazines and she finds like colours and portions of other pictures that have the feeling that she wants to convey, and she cuts them all out and she kind of makes almost a mood board, and she figures out her colour palette from that. And that was really interesting to see, because she has it quite, like she might only have like 4 main colours, 6 main colours that she's really using in it. She uses lines in a really interesting way, so there's a lot of sort of, there might be a vertical of like a curtain or a window frame or something, that then there's other bits and bobs on a table, and then the table leg underneath that actually matches up to that vertical, and then the same with horizontal lines in a way that reminded me of the way that drafts people draw, that you get all these things that match and kind of have a sense of order, but then there's other shapes in there that are completely organic and beautiful curves and stuff. And we did a couple of exercises in art class that were trying to get us to sort of resemble her style, like to learn, you know, a new style a little bit, but they scratched the surface, because what we did was we got a paper bag which had all of these things in it, and we had to pick one out at a time and just paint what we liked about that thing, like what was intriguing to us. So it might have just been like, if it was a bottle, it was just the shape of the bottle, or if it was like a little decorative elephant, it might just be the pattern that was on the elephant. That might be the thing that we wanted to capture on paper. And we just kind of made this muddle of all these representative elements from all of these objects, which is only one like tiny component of why her style is different. So then when I read the book, I was like, oh, I got a lot more out of it. So yeah, I hope you enjoy reading that. And I wanted to show you a couple of books. This is the one that I actually wanted to send you, but I can't even find it for purchase anywhere anymore. I got it from my local newsagent because they have some weird things sometimes. You can only find it for purchase on like the Netherlands shop site that is behind Flow, and to get this one thing to you was going to be like $170 or something, and I was like, I love you, but not that much. So I wanted to show you my one. That's really cool, isn't it? So it's a book of paper for paper lovers. I've enjoyed getting the Kiki K books for paper lovers, but they're quite plain in a way. Yeah, they don't have too much personality or character to them. They're just like replicating product lines that Kiki K has at the moment, and they might have like, you know, a series of gift tags and a series of postcards and maybe some stickers and maybe some wrapping paper and maybe some DIY envelope sort of cutouts that you can make. But this is just full of so much stuff. Like, I haven't even opened this envelope on the first page here. I don't even know what's in there yet. But it has all the stuff about who designed it, which I really love, and I wish that Kiki K talked more about who is designing their stuff and gave them some credit. And then it has, I think it's like a writing paper section at the start, so every page just has blank and then it has a pattern on the back. So that goes on for a while. Swimmers. And then, once you get past the writing paper section, there are little sort of perforated postcards, so with different kinds of designs, some florals, some black background stuff. Then there are some gift tags for a few pages. Then some DIY envelopes, like I was saying Kiki K makes. They have the address field. Goes on for a few pages. And then there's just a random picture with sort of more thicker card. And it has all these tiny little cutouts, and what you're meant to do is make a scene with it. I think there is a page with instructions as well. There's all these little components and you make a little scene, like a little cozy room that has an outlook. And there's some more writing paper. And then there's a calendar section. So I actually have taken out all the pages so far. So this is the page for June. And I peg them up on my wall. Way over there, the May picture. Peg them up on my wall as a beautiful picture for each month. And then once you get past the calendar section, there's some washi tape pages. Then there's some tissue paper collection of all different colours, and I think they might even have a suggestion on what you can do with that. Then there's like a notebook to pull out in here. And then there's just plain pieces of paper in really nice sort of Scandi hues. And then a couple more pictures that are on more sort of thicker cardstock. Then you get some stickers. You get my drift. That is not even halfway. So it goes on and on and on, and I'll just show you, like, going through all these different things. And then there's this really cute thing at the very back. There's like this dog, a dog on a stick and a station wagon on a stick, like little puppet sticks just at the back there. So the whole book is like filled with interesting things, and so that was wonderful. And then the other one that I wanted to show you was I think I bought 3 Flow products that weren't their magazine. So Flow book for paper lovers, this one, a book that takes its time, and there's another one which hasn't arrived yet because it was like coming from the UK or something, and that one is about drawing everyday things, but I'll talk about that when I get it. So this one is this gorgeous book that's all about taking it slow, appreciating the small things, and calming the heck down. It has actual written pieces in it. This one's called Time to Breathe. Look, a beautiful moment. It has activities like this one, tiny little perforated cards, and it encourages you to get a little jar and put these little cards on your desk, and when you get to a point in your day where you feel like it's a beautiful moment, or you know, you come back from somewhere and go, that was a beautiful moment, then you write it down and you put it in your little jar or your container, your envelope, and then it goes on for quite a few pages, so you've got a lot of cards. And then when you want to feel warm and fuzzy, or you want to reflect on what's happened that year or whatever, then you go through your beautiful moments, which I think is a lovely idea. there's evidence about if you have photographs around your house of people you love and moments that have been happy, that it makes you happier. So just writing down beautiful moments would work as well. There's poetry, between going and staying, and then there's a notebook to use. There's a piece about all different spices and what to use them in and how they are delightful. There's a piece about hand lettering. There's a checklist to have a look around you and see what you can see. It's pretty cute. There's an exercise in here. What's the line of your life? Make a timeline of your life. And then it gives you the tools and a little kit to kind of do that. There's a piece, don't be afraid of emotions. But like, all the illustrations are just gorgeous. I can imagine coming back to this again and again. And then, you know, my favorite topic, snail mail. So they give you a whole bunch of postcards and encourage you to send snail mail to people. That too is not even halfway, so there is like loads and loads and loads of stuff in this book. I love getting videos from you. Thank you so much for continuing this little project of ours, and I love how encouraging you are, so thank you. Sometimes you just need to hear someone say, "You're okay, stop being stupid and saying you can't do things." Thank you very much for sharing that Paul Wang video link where it shows him teaching. That was so interesting, and I think I'm going to watch it a few times actually, talking about drawing the eye into the picture and having a focus, and sometimes distorting parts of the picture to draw the eye in further, or omitting parts of the picture so that the things that remain are doing what you want it to do. And also that they were just using, was it 3 colours? It was like an orange, or was it an orange, 2 blues and something else? I can't remember. But they had a very limited palette. And then I've also bookmarked the woman who did that video, the French woman. I've also bookmarked her YouTube channel to watch more of her videos, because it looks like she goes to a lot of those things, and so I'd be able to see a lot of different styles and teachers, and then she's a teacher herself. So thank you very much. I wanted to ask, it's a really random question, but I was reading this book. It's called A Glorious Freedom by Lisa Congdon, who's an artist, and it's about women. It's supposed to be a book about women who have sort of found their way after the age of 40. So like maybe they had a different career or several different jobs or whatever before they were 40, and then they've kind of just changed or found their thing somewhere over the age of 40. So like even like, you know, at the age of 70, they've like finally found their thing. Not necessarily that they've found like success, but they've found their thing. However, that's not what it's actually about. I think that it would have been an amazing book if it had been about that, but unfortunately it looks like she's just looked at a whole bunch of women who have accomplished things, and if they were still accomplishing something post 40, or for example won their first accolade after the age of 40, then she's included them, which I just think kind of dilutes the concept. That's not my point. My point is she has these pages where it looks like she's used watercolour to paint words, and you can see all the variations in the watercolour sort of strength changing in the words. I think especially you can see there it's like a darker bit there and then it's lighter there. And I wanted to know how you think she did that, because I feel like it would be really hard to paint words, like to get those clean edges. Like if you look like something like this eye here, they're really clean edges on the eye. So my guess was that this was a huge canvas, and that maybe she even sketched out the letters first and then filled them with colour. And then of course when you photo something or scan something that is huge and you make it smaller, then it all looks very sort of precise and neat, so all the edges would look a lot neater. But I was wondering if you thought she might have done it in a different way. Like, I don't think she does this sort of thing digitally, so I wanted to repeat the art challenge for May because I forgot to actually say it, and I just put it in the comments in my last video. So find a photo you like in your photo library and do a representation of it. So it could be anything. It could be a photo you've taken of a poster on the street. It could be a photo of a person, anything you like, and any kind of representation of it. It could be interpretive dance. That would still work in an art challenge, and I'd love to see that, Michelle. And the last thing that I wanted to say was I somehow stumbled onto a family friend on Instagram, or she stumbled onto me, and she keeps a sketchbook. She's kept sketchbooks for 14 years. She's my mum's friend, and she lives far, far away, but she was visiting my mum the other day, and I went over to say hi, and I was like, I follow you on Instagram, I like seeing your sketchbooks. And she was like, I'd like seeing, you have a go at sketchbooking as well, that's really cool. And she actually had brought some to show me, which was lovely. And then we're chatting, and she goes, oh, by the way, I like your videos. And I was like, oh, you watch them, do you? And she goes, they're really good for when I can't sleep. If I'm having trouble sleeping, then I put on your videos. Helps me go to sleep. Yes, life goals. So we're doing good work here. I love you, bye, 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 I love you, bye.